Hi guys, it's me Terry of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome back to another tutorial. What I'm going to be doing in this video is just showing you the basics of color changing and color carrying, okay? So, I've got the chart here. This chart I got from Danica over at Lady Love Design Boutique. This is the chart that she is supplying for her Stitch Challenge of the month for this upcoming month. And if you want to grab this chart, then go over and join her Facebook group, Lady Love Design Boutique. I'll put a link in the description box below where you can find that group, and then you can join the challenge and get this chart for yourself. Okay, and also a little just side tip, I guess. She sent me the chart, and then I entered it or downloaded it into my Stitch Fiddle account, and which is a free account. It's stitchfiddle.com, and it has this nice progress tracker that you can use once you get your image in there. And so that's what I'm using. But by all means, if you don't want to do that, if you can print out the chart, then go ahead and print out the chart and get yourself a pencil, and then you can mark off the rows as you work them. Okay, working on my chart, I'm going to I need to join the red color right here to start this leg. And so I've worked my squares all the way up until right before the color change. In fact, I need one more background color before I do the color change, one more stitch. So I insert my hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Okay, and instead of completing my single crochet, I need to go ahead and do my color change. So the way I do color changes is I take my bobbin that I'm going to use, and I already put a slip knot in the end of it, okay? And then I take it and I put it on my hook, and then I tighten up my knot a little bit, my slip knot, okay? And then I go ahead and draw that through the two loops that were on my hook, and then I take the background color and I snug it up a little bit in the back, and then I continue on with my stitch with my red color. Okay, so then there's 3 stitches I need to do with the red. So 1, 2, and then 3, and with my third one I'm going to do a color change again. I need to go back to the background color. Okay, but I want to leave this background color, this bobbin, on the end because I'll have more blue on that side. And so I'm going to start a new bobbin of my background color. And let me get that. Okay, and I've already got a slip knot in the end of it. And so I do it just like I did before. I put the slip knot on the hook, and I tighten up the loop just a little bit. And then I go ahead and I draw that through those 2 loops that were on my hook. And then I snug up the red, oops, wrong tail, snug up the red in the back, and then continue on with the blue. Okay, just like that. Okay, and now I need to do 5 background colors here to get to where I'm going to then pick up the red to work on the other leg. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, except remember the 5th one, oops, sorry about that. The 5th one you don't work it all the way. So there's 5 right there. Okay, so now I got to do the color change. So I put my blue to the back. I've already got my red started here from the row before. So I take it, I pick it up, and I pick up a loop of the red, and then I just draw it through those 2 loops on my hook. I take the blue in the back and I snug it up a little bit, okay, and then I continue on. Now, before putting the hook, well, the next one will be the red will be going the very next stitch. But if you see that when I drew that yarn across, I now have this long loop right there, a long strand of red. And so when I'm going to do my next stitch, I want to make sure I go underneath that strand and then into that next stitch to make my single crochet, and that helps to kind of lock it in, and see, it makes the transition look a whole lot better. Okay, so there was my first one, and then I've got let's see, there's 3, on this one there is 5 stitches I need to do. So 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go ahead and work over that tail right there, 4, okay, and then on the 5th one I start it, but then now I don't finish it because I need to introduce the background color again. See that? Okay, so I need another bobbin of the black background color, which I have right here, and I have a slip knot on the end of it. Okay, right there. So I put it on my hook, snug up the knot. Ooh. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it through those 2 loops, and then snug up the red one in the back, and then continue on with the blue. Like that, okay? And you can always go and snug up your red a little bit more, and then of course when you come back and you use that red again, you can work on snugging it up if it gets loose on the stitches when you're going back the other direction. Okay, so I'm still working along on my chart, and I wanted to show you a tip, or at least how I do a vertical color change. Let me pick my chart up here so I can see it better. Okay, so I'm working on this background color going this direction, and where I'm going to start the red on this row, it's right above the one below, so it's going to be a vertical color change. In other words, the row below it had 5 red stitches, and the one we're going to be doing also has 5 stitches, and they begin and end at the same place. See that? It's like a vertical color change. They're not slanted out any direction. Okay, so the way I do that, lay that down. Okay, so I am up to, okay, so I'm up to my last background color that I'm going to do before the color change. So I start my single crochet just like regular, okay, and now I'm going to pick up my red so I can put that stitch. It's going to be right above this one. So I yarn over with my new color, and I pull it through the 2 loops on my stitch. I snug up the blue at the back. Oops, sorry. Snug up the blue at the back, and then now the next stitch is going to go right into here, okay? But if you see, there's this blue strand, sorry, not blue. There's this red strand there that's kind of long where I pulled the stitch through. So to hide that, I go underneath that loop, okay, and then I go into my stitch and then pull that through and underneath that loop like that, and then I finish my single crochet. And see how the edge makes it a lot better edge. You don't see these long strands, okay? And then I go ahead and do my 5 stitches. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm about to do my 5th one, but in my next one I'm going to do the color change back to my background color, okay? So I'm going to drop that red to the back. I'm going to pick up that blue, my background color, okay? Yarn over and pull it through those 2 loops. Snug up my red at the back, okay? And then see, you still have this kind of longer blue strand right there from where I picked it up, okay? So then I go underneath it, and then I go into the stitch to complete my single crochet for the next stitch. So I complete it, and see, it kind of pulls that yarn over this direction, but it makes it a shorter strand, okay? And it's not as noticeable. Okay, because see, you snug up that red in the back and it looks a whole lot better. The edges look cleaner. Okay, and then I continue on with my blue. I need 4 blue colors, colors now. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is my 4th one, okay, the background color, but then I need to pick up the red, and I'm going to do 4 red stitches. So I start my single crochet, and then I put the blue to the back. Make sure my bobbins aren't tangled here. Okay, now I'm going to pick up my red, yarn over, pull it through those two that were on the loop, on the hook, snug up my blue one in the back there, and then same thing. See, I've got this red that's stretched over there, the stitches, and so I'm going to pick up put my hook underneath that stitch and then into the stitch where it's going and finish my single crochet. Okay, that just helps straighten up the edge and make it a whole lot nicer. Okay, these are of course my tails. I will weave those in. Okay, and then it says I need 4 of the red stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then I start my 4th one, but then now I need to change back to the blue again, and it's another vertical stitch. If you can see, it's going that there's a straight edge there with those stitches. Okay, so I drop my red to the back, I pick up my blue, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on the hook, and as you see, it makes this long strand right there of the blue. I snug down my red. Okay, and then I go ahead and go underneath that blue strand and then into the stitch where I'm going and complete my single crochet. And see, it helps lock in the stitch there, and it makes it a nice transition. And then finish to the end. Okay, and then of course I chain 1 and turn. The chain 1 doesn't count anything, it's just turning chains on the edges. Okay, so I've got my 4 stitches of my red. I need 1 more to make the 5th one. Okay, but it's going to be like I said, it's one past where we did it on the previous row. Okay, so I go ahead and getting ready to make my 5th red one before the color change. Instead of inserting it into the very next stitch where it's going to go, I'm going to insert the hook into the stitch I just made. Okay, into that same stitch, not that stitch I just made, but the one I just made it into. It's like you're doing 2 single crochets in one, you know, or you start doing it that way. Okay, so I insert my hook into that same stitch, draw up a loop. Okay, and now if you see on the blue of the next stitch, there is 2 loops there around that stitch. There's this bottom one, and then there's the regular top of the stitch. Okay, well, I want to, instead of just going through the regular, which would be the top ones, I want to go underneath that bottom stitch, the bottom loop, as well as going into the stitch. Okay, it's a little tricky, but when you get the hang of it, it's not hard. It's not too difficult. Okay, so I pulled up a loop. Now I'm going to take that 3rd loop on my hook and I'm going to pull it underneath that 2nd one, like that. See that? Now I'm going to drop my red and pick up the blue and finish my stitch. Okay? And then if you just snug up the red in the back and the blue that you just made, it makes a very nice transition. Okay, now I'm going to continue on with the blue. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and as you can see, it's going to be the same instance, except it's the blue that's going one past where it had been before. Okay, so there's 4 stitches there. So I'm going to do the first 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then the next one is going to be the transition stitch, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do it the same way, because see, if I do it regular and then pick up my red, okay, you got this piece sticking out there. Okay, the transition is not that good. So instead of doing it that way, when we're going to do our 4th stitch, which is the last one right before the color change, I'm going to insert my hook into the same stitch, the one I just made, just like doing 2 single crochets in one. Okay, and I draw up a loop, but then I stop there, and just like the other one, you can see that there's 2 loops. Let me see if I can hold that. There's that bottom one, right there, and then the regular one, which is the regular stitch. Okay, I'm going to go insert my hook, and I'm going to insert it underneath that bottom one and into the stitch. Okay, so insert my hook there, and then draw up my blue. Okay, and now continue on and draw this loop underneath that middle one. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm going to drop my blue from the back, pick up my red, and continue with my stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to firm up the blue at the back, and firm up our red that we just made. See? And now the transition is much smoother there on the edge. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on, and with my red, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that I need to make. Okay, so into the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it looks like the 5th stitch is going to be right above. It's going to be a vertical right above the row before, and if you look on our chart, it is. It's one right above. It's vertical. Okay, so we're right where we should be. Okay, now we're going to do our color change to the blue and continue on right there. Okay, underneath our crab picture. Let me pull it over, and you can see, and you can see we need to introduce another red here because we're at the very bottom of the crab's belly. Okay, so drop my red to the back, change to my blue, snug that up, and then continue on. So continue on with the blue until you get to where the red needs to start, and then we need to introduce another red. Whoops. We need to introduce another red there, okay, after we get this row here. I mean, you know, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We need to do 12 background colors, and then we're going to introduce the red, which is underneath the belly there. We have to add another bobbin. Okay, so I've gone across here, and now I'm going to, I'm right at this point, I'm about to complete my 12th single crochet doing that background color, and now I need to introduce another bobbin to get my belly part of the crab. Okay, and so let's do that. I've got a new bobbin with my slip knot already on it, so I'm going to complete my single crochet the very last one of that color, of the background color, by hooking on that loop, that slip knot, snugging up a little bit, pulling it through the 2 loops that are on the hook, and snug up the blue behind it. Whoops. Okay, snug up the blue behind it, which completes that stitch, and then drop the blue, and then you pick up your red, and then you're ready to continue on with the red to get that row done. I mean, that little section. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the red stitches, okay, that we need to do there. So 1, 9, 10, and then here's the 11th one, but I'm getting ready to do a color change. So I get it started, but I don't pull through it to complete the stitch, because now I'm over here. Let me slide my graph over. Okay, and now I need to get another blue one, because I have no blue one available in this section. Okay, there's no blue. This blue right here is for between the 2 legs, see? And so I need to start another bobbin for this one, for this area, to get this and these remaining rows up here to get up underneath there, see? Right now I've got quite a few bobbins connected, but in just a few rows, when this red section gets larger, see that? When the red section gets larger, then you will be able to cut a lot of these extra bobbins off, and then it won't be as bad to manage. Okay. Okay, so add your blue bobbin here to get to continue on. Okay, and then I'll meet you up when I get to another color change that's different that I want to show you, okay? So I'm ending up my background color, getting ready to have to join now, to start the red right there. So I've got my partial, I've started to do my last single crochet there. So I'm going to drop my blue to the back. I'm going to pick up my red, and now all I need to do now is I'm going to go ahead and loop it and pull it through, okay, just like that. But what I like to try to do is kind of give myself just a little bit of slack. Now I'll snug up the blue, but I want to give myself a little slack on the red because I want to lay the red over the top of those stitches because I need to work over those, okay? So snugging up the blue a little bit more. Now I'm going to go into my next stitch, and as you can see, I have 4 stitches there before I will get to the level where I was before. So there's 1, 2, and I'm working over that red there, 3, 4, okay? So now, as you can see, it hit it, and the transition looks really nice. So now I'm going to continue on with the red. Okay, so now I'm coming along, and now as you see, I'm on the other side of that little bottom short piece of the red, and as you can see, there's 3 squares more that I need to go further than the previous row before on that red, okay? So I'm up to the level to where the red was. Now I need to do those 3 more squares. I need to continue on with those 3 squares past where I was before. So, but as you can see, our blue is right here, and we're going to need it, but we're going to need it over here in the 4th area, okay? And so in order to hide this, we're going to carry it along with us, okay? So when we're about to make our next stitch, instead of just inserting it into the next area, let's take our blue and kind of bring it up like that, okay? And we're going to go underneath that. In other words, we're going to go underneath that blue. We're going to hold it right there, and they're going to go into the stitch to catch that blue, okay? Snug it up, and then we do our 3 stitches, so 1, and then we just, like I said, we're carrying the blue along with us on the top of the stitch, 2, and then there's the 3rd one. But then remember, in the 3rd one, we're going to go ahead and drop our red and change to the blue, my background color, to complete that stitch, okay? And now we're going to continue on, snugging up the red in the back. Then we're going to continue on with our background color. Okay, so I hope these color changing and color carrying tips are helpful to you, and that you enjoyed the video. And as always, if you need to watch the video again to look at the different types of techniques that I used in color changing, feel free to do that. And thank you, Danica of Lady Love Design Boutique Facebook group, for asking me to do this tutorial for this upcoming stitch challenge. And I think that's it. So I guess we'll talk to y'all later, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!